I'm going to do a video on the how we approach white line infections. Most of them that we see are little cracks. It shows little cracks like this, and usually right on the front of the foot. A lot of people think they're cracks. They're really infections, and the crack is secondary, in my opinion. But what you usually find on the bottom side of these is that you'll have a section here right behind that crack that's pretty eaten away. And if you can just kind of open it up like that, it'll show you what you've got. I use a bone curette. You see that? And I just go in there and I dig it all out. The problem with resections, especially on these field horses, is that they'll get trimmed and then they'll just go live in the field, and that resection gets packed in mud, and typically you'll come back and you'll have a area that's just as bad, if not worse, than what you were dealing with before. I found that this is a pretty good solution. I've had really good results with it, and I think some other folks have used it with good results too. So I'll just get all the powdery stuff out of here. That tells me it's dead hoof. When I start getting to waxy material, I think I've gotten about as good as I'm gonna get. So once that's cleaned out, I'll go ahead and get the other stuff. And you see that? All right, you can pause it more. All right, so what we use after we clean it out with the bone curette is Caratex hoof putty, a hot fitting pritchel, and some copper sulfate. And this is actually this is crushed powdered copper sulfate. This is a delivery system my dad set up for me, which is pretty cool. He's got a little funnel here. He's got a little bit of a syringe, and that stuff just slides right in there and wastes less than I used to. I'll get that copper sulfate in there and I will pack it in as far as I can. And the powder really works better than the crystals, because I feel like it absorbs into the foot really quickly. So that's in there. I'll take my gob of Caratex hoof wax and my hot pritchel, and I just melt that right in there. I feel like I'm baking a cake. And once that fills up, that melting the wax is the key for me. That's what keeps it in on a barefoot horse. It gets in all the nooks and crannies. I just let that set up, and once that sets up, this will be good for at least until I come back, and probably longer. It can pack with dirt and mud as much as it wants to now, and it's just going to push all of that stuff further up in the foot where the infection really is. It's one of the only things I've had a 100% success rate with in shoeing horses. Everything else is hit or miss, but this has worked for me every time. And as soon as that sets up, he'll be good to go. So I hope that helps.